Now, we know that when we're looking at our denominator, we're definitely going to have to factorize. Can anybody tell me, you can even unmute or you can put it in the chat, what kind of factorization are we looking at over here? Yes, Mandisa.
Ma'am, the factorization would be the difference of two squares dots.
Beautiful. Good. It's the difference of two squares. Do you want to factorize for me? Factorize for me. What would I do?
Ma'am, you place down two brackets.
Good.
And then you say x.
Good. X and x.
And then negative and positive, or positive and negative.
Yep.
And then 2 in each bracket.
Beautiful. Well done. Excellent work. Minus 4x over x minus 2. Well done, Mandisa. That's exactly it. Ah, beautiful stuff, my darling. Always on point. I love it. Well done. All right. So the next thing we need to do now is we need to find an LCD. We need to find a lowest common denominator. Now, remember, everything in my denominator must be accounted for. Everything must be accounted for. So I know that my LCD must include x minus 2 and x plus 2, because we need to account for both of them. Right. So now in this case, I can then write my big LCD as x minus 2, x plus 2, just like that. Right. Now, if I look at this first denominator over here, it's not missing anything. So I don't have to change anything in the denominator. Therefore, I don't have to change anything in the numerator. So I'm going to leave the 2x exactly the same. I'm just going to leave that as 2x. However, we notice that over here in this bracket, or in this fraction, the x minus 2 or the x plus 2 part is missing. So I now need to multiply this side by x plus 2 to get it to look like my LCD. Now, if I do that on the bottom, I'm going to have to do that on the top as well. So I'm also going to multiply this part by x plus 2. So I then have to distribute. Now, remember, guys, when I'm distributing, it's not just the 4x that I'm distributing in. There's a negative there. So what I'm actually distributing into this bracket is negative 4x. I'm just going to move this negative. Let me move it next to 4. There. Negative 4x is what I'm actually distributing into the bracket. So what I would get is negative 4 times x, or negative 4x times x would give me negative 4x squared minus 8x. That's what I would get there. All right, and then we just need to clean it up. We need to add like terms. I know that 2x and negative 8x are like terms. So on the top, I'm going to get negative 4x squared minus 2 minus 8x will give me negative 6x. Over, I can do that, x minus 2 and x plus 2. All right, and that's the final answer that I'm looking for. Okay, so we just need to remember the steps, everyone. That being said, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. We're going to be wrapping up the section on algebraic fractions today, and then next week, we're going to start on a brand new section. I'll let you know exactly what it is we're doing, because ma'am has also forgotten. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second. I wrote the lesson breakdown, but I forgot what it is I'm teaching you guys next. Okay, so next on the line, we'll be doing exponents. We're going to be doing exponents, and exponents is a really, really tough one. So we need to make sure that we have our wits about us when we get to that one. All right. Hello, Palisa. Good afternoon. It's great to have you with us. Okay, so before I continue, I'm just going to ask everybody to give me a number in the chat. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult are we finding algebraic fractions? 1 being very, very easy, and 10 being like, ma'am, I don't know what I'm doing. You're speaking Greek. Where are we sitting? Mandisa's sitting at a 0. How about everyone else? How are we doing, guys, in terms of algebraic fractions? I heard a voice. I definitely heard a voice somewhere. Okay, I see 2 at 3, 6. Yes, is at a 6. Morangi is at a 5. Alyssa's like 10, ma'am. Yo, okay. We're going to try and take that 10 a little bit lower today and get it to a comfortable space. Okay, because what we want really is to sit at like a 0 or a 1 or a 2. That's where we want to sit. So if we're not sitting at a 0, 1, 2, then we've got a bit of work to do. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be wrapping up the section on algebraic expressions, and then we're going to jump into something else. Okay, so let's start with this question that we see over here on the screen. Now, I know we have to find an LCD. Who can remind me? Why do I know that I have to find an LCD? How do we know this?
Because there's a minus.
Beautiful, yes, because there's a minus in between my fractions. Excellent. Who was that? Sia? Was that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, excellent. Well done, my dude. Good. We know because there's a minus between my two fractions, we need an LCD. Now, let's go ahead and factorize our denominators. Do we have any way that we can factorize any of the denominators we have? Yes? Do we see any kind of factorization technique that we can use in any one of these denominators that we've got?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it? Tell me.
HCF.
Beautiful. Yes, it's HCF. So I'm going to give everybody a chance. Go ahead and factorize that using HCF. Okay. And then once we've done that, we need to find our LCD. So I'm going to go 3 over something minus 2 minus x over 6x. Right. And I'm going to continue very quickly, and I'm going to move right along because I know we all know how to factorize HCF. So I'm just going to, let me write a bigger 3 that looks like a baby 3. All right, so I'm going to take 6 out as a common factor. And if I take that out, I'm going to get x plus 1 as my leftover, what I have in my bracket, right? Now, if we want to find the LCD, we need to remember that absolutely everything in my denominator must be accounted for. I can't leave anything behind. All right, so I know that I can write 6 because both of my brackets have a 6. So 6 is represented. Great. What else can I represent? What else needs to be represented in my brackets, guys? Or in my denominator? What are we thinking? Anybody? Somebody? What are we thinking? I think x, right? Because there's an x over here. There's an x over there. So I'm going to add this as 6x. And then there must be one last thing that we must also put in there. It's in brackets. I'll give you guys the hint. It's in brackets. What must we also include here? Not just the one, Tseho. Remember, there is definitely a difference between x and x plus 1. Good, Mandisa. There's a distinct difference. Imagine this, Tseho. If our x was equal to 4, then x plus 1 would give us 5 instead. So I need to represent them both. Okay. If x is equal to 4, then x plus 1 would be 5. So we must put both of them in there. We must put both x and x plus 1. We cannot leave either of them behind. All right, now that is my denominator. That's my LCD. So I'm going to write all of this. Let me write it down here. All of this over one big denominator, 6x, open brackets, x plus 1. Before we continue, can we speak restrictions? Let's talk about restrictions quickly. Okay. Now, remember, restrictions are the things that x cannot be in my denominator. All right, what do we know that x cannot be? X cannot equal which number? Okay, let's think about this part over here. Good, Mandisa's got the right idea. I know that if I put -1 in here, I'm going to get -1 plus 1. That's going to give me 0. And 6 times 0 is 0. I know that I can't divide by 0 because that's going to be undefined. So x cannot be equal to -1, right? But 6 times what would give us 0 over here? What else can x not be equal to over there? 6 times something would give us 0. That's it, Palisa. Beautiful. So we know that x can also not equal 0. So x cannot equal -1 or x cannot equal 0. Those two numbers. All right. Excellent. And those are our restrictions. Now we're going to go back and compare. We're going to compare each denominator to our LCD. Now, if we look at this denominator and we look at the LCD, what's missing from here, between here and there? What are we missing up top here? Or at this part over here? Which part of my LCD is missing? Yes, excellent, that's it. The X is missing. That's it, Desmereda. Well done, Mandisa, that's it. X is missing. So I know I need to multiply here by X. And whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to have to do to the top as well. So I'm also going to have to multiply 3 by X. So on this part over here, I'm going to get 3X. Right. And now remember what Teacher Coco said about this minus. This minus actually belongs to the whole thing. So we still kind of have to multiply that minus in. All right. So now we go to this denominator. What is missing from my LCD? What is missing in this denominator from my LCD? Beautiful. Well done. That's it. Good. X plus 1 is missing. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by X plus 1. And whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top as well. So I'm also going to multiply this top part by X plus 1. But what we need to remember, guys, is even if we take these two and we multiply them to each other, whatever answer we get there, we still have to multiply that answer by negative. Can you give me a thumbs up? Is ma'am making sense? Are we all okay with what I've said here? Okay, because that minus belongs to that whole fraction, as soon as I've done FOIL up top here, I then have to multiply the negative in. So I'm going to go minus, open bracket 2 minus X, open bracket X plus 1. Now we know over here we have to FOIL. So let's all do FOIL. Okay, we're going to do first, outer, inner, last. Okay, we're going to leave the 3x alone. The 3x didn't do anything. And the denominator is also the same. 6x, open bracket X plus 1. Right? Then we're going to get 3x minus, and then I'm going to open a bracket again, because even after I FOIL, I still have to multiply the minus in. So I'm going to get 2 times x, that will give me 2x. 2 times 1 will give me plus 2. Negative x times x will give me minus x squared. And negative x times 1 will give me negative x. All right. I'm not done. I still have to multiply the negative in. So I'm going to have to distribute, distribute, distribute. So I'm going to then get 3x. Then I'm going to get minus 2x minus 2 plus x squared plus x over 6x into x plus 1. All right. And then the only thing left to do here is to add our like terms. I know I've got 3x and negative 2x, and I've got plus x. Okay, those need to be added together. So I'm then going to get x squared, because there's an x squared there. And then 3x minus 2x, that's 1x plus x, that will give us 2x. So plus 2x minus 2, all of that over 6x into x plus 1. And that top part doesn't actually factorize, so there's nothing more we can do with it in any case. All right. How are we doing? Good. No, Amanda, we are not going to multiply out the denominator, because that means that we're working backwards. The instruction would say to simplify. And when we factorize the denominator, that's our way of simplifying. So we can't do that. The top, don't you multiply the top? How do we multiply the top, my darling? Explain to me. Which part? I'm not sure where I've lost you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, my darling. What's up?
I wanted to ask about the part where you said we have to factor, yeah, where we
Sure.
the negative side. I
Sure. Okay.
didn't understand
All right.
that part.
Amanda, my darling, you're lagging very, very badly. Or is it Amanda or is it Kat? Is it you, Kat? Okay, Kat, can I ask you, my
It's
darling, can
me.
you?
It's Kat.
Yes, now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Okay, ask again.
Sorry, ma'am. I have load shedding this side, so I
Oh,
think
I
the
see.
network is bad.
Okay, that's fine. Try that
Yes.
again.
So I was asking that, can you please explain to me the part where you actually changed the negative, like the step before the one where you got polynomials? I wanted to understand that part.
So this
Or
part
how
here
did you do that?
or this part here?
What?
Which part? The part where we still have brackets or this part over here?
I get it more there. We use the part where like we changed the negative, positive 2x to negative 2x, positive 2 to negative 2, then negative x squared to positive x squared. Yes, that part.
Oh,
Yes,
okay, yes.
that
Okay,
part.
so remember I was saying that in between my two fractions, there's a negative. Yes? You okay with that? Okay, so now
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have, if we go back to the question, you'll see I have negative 2 minus x. So this negative actually belongs to this bracket. Okay, it actually belongs to the bracket. So if I then go and I take this 2 minus x and I multiply it with what's missing in the denominator, this gives me two binomials, right? So I then have to
Yes.
FOIL over here. So once I FOIL those two, I'm going to end up with 2x plus 2 minus x squared minus x. But even after I've done that, there's still a negative over here. And that negative belonged to this top part. So I still have to multiply the negative in. Okay, and that's where this negative comes in. That's why 2x changed to negative 2x and 2 changed to negative 2 and negative x squared changed to positive x squared and negative x changed to positive x.
Okay, ma'am. So I get it, the negative, right? It's standing with a negative 1. So when we are multiplying, we're actually removing the brackets by, I think it's distribution, or like we're actually removing the brackets.
That's it,
Okay.
by multiplying
Okay,
in
ma'am.
negative 1. Okay. Is that making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent,
Yeah, I
good.
understand now.
Okay, well done, my darling, good stuff. All right, Mandisa says she wants to try question 2, and I'm happy with that, Mandisa. Do you want to unmute and help me out with question 2? Everybody else, please go ahead and try the question by yourself. Right, Mandisa, my darling, do you want to unmute?
Yes, ma'am. I have unmuted.
Good.
So,
I'm not going to say, you're going to tell me all the steps. What do we need to do first?
first you need to factorize the ones that you can factorize, and the only one that you can factorize in this instance is the trinomials at the bottom.
Good. I'm going to change this to a plus. Okay, there's a method to my madness. All right. Okay, go for it.
Hey, ma'am, why do you change it to a plus? Okay, ma'am, give me 2 minutes.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to factorize. That's why.
Okay, ma'am. But ma'am, ma'am, that doesn't make sense though. Ma'am, can we
Okay,
just
so
go to the original one?
Okay, if I go with the original one, we're not going to be able to factorize, but I'll show you how. Okay, how are you going to factorize that one for me, my darling?
Ma'am, you're gonna find a number that when you times it will give you -6, and when you add, gives you -7x. Those numbers will be -1 and -2. I mean, -6.
Okay, good. So we're going to have x minus 1, are you agreeing with me? And x minus 6, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now here's the problem, my darling. Here's the problem. If we FOIL, right? If I do FOIL quickly, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to end up with x squared minus 6x minus 1x, and then I'm going to get a negative and a negative, and it's going to give me positive 6. Are you seeing it?
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
So that's why ma'am was saying, let's change that to positive. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to factorize that properly. Okay, am I making sense?
Ma'am, what factors of 6 will give you -7?
6 and 1, yes, but they would both have to be negative. And in this case, if we had a negative over here, we would have to have a positive and a negative, or we would have had to have a negative and a positive, because there's a -6 over here. Okay, and that's the problem that we're coming across in this particular question.
Ma'am. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense now.
Right, so we need to do that.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, so that's why I'm
Six will
saying
be
we need to change that to plus. So your factorization isn't wrong, my darling. It's just my sum was wrong. But Amanda, no, you can't just change the signs whenever you want. I'm only doing it because I wrote the question down wrong. Okay. Yes, that's it, Palesa. So if we had -6 over here, we would get +5 or -5. And we can't do that. So do you see what everyone's saying, Mandisa? Are we all okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, excellent. Then we've got 5x over x minus 1. All right, what do we do next? Tell me.
After that, would you put the denominators as 1 and then?
Correct, but you didn't tell me what the denominator is.
The
So you still need
denominator
to be there.
would be x minus 1 in brackets. Ma'am, so let's find the LCD.
Yes, of course, we must find the LCD, yes. That's what we're finding.
Okay, and then the other one would be x minus 6. That is the LCD.
Excellent. Good. Beautiful.
And
You've
then-
forgotten something, my darling. Don't forget it. On this side. Let me see if anybody in the chat can help. What have you forgotten?
The x minus 1.
No.
The restrictions.
The restrictions, that's it. I need you to not forget the restrictions, my darling, because they actually do give you a mark for the restrictions. So we need to make sure we remember them. Okay.
So the restrictions would be +1 and +6.
Good. X cannot equal +1 and x cannot equal +6. Well done. All right, let's go back to the question. Tell me what should happen.
After that, before you put your numerators that are at the top, you check that the denominator that it's under is not missing anything from our LCD that we have gotten.
Good.
In the first one, nothing is missing, so you place the 2 down.
Good. Excellent. Keep going.
And then with the 5x over x minus 1, you would, since x minus 6 is missing, you times both of them, the numerator and the denominator.
Good. That's it. Excellent. So what would we get over here?
So you'd say 2 plus 5x in brackets 6 minus x minus 6.
That's it. Good. Okay. Excellent. Let's continue.
And then you do the FOIL method with the 5x in brackets 6 minus x minus 6.
Good. Excellent. So what do we get on the top?
Okay, so 2 plus 5x times x is 5x squared, and 5x times 6 is -30x.
That's it. Beautiful. All right, let's just write them neater. Yes?
Yes.
So what would we get on the top?
Yeah?
What would we get on the top? I know we're done, but I just want us to write it in a nicer order. Let's write it as a trinomial. My OCD is kicking in. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
Positive 5x squared
Good.
minus 30x
Good.
plus 2 over
Good.
x minus 1 and x minus 6.
Oh, my darling, I don't know. I mean, I think we can graduate you to grade 11. We're done here. I mean, you did the things, just gold. Well done, my darling. Absolutely beautifully done. Excellent. Well done. Whew. Now, guys, she ate. Let's not even lie. She ate. We all know that she just did the things. So just well done to you, Mandisa. Ah, you're giving me life, my darling. Well done. All right, let's look at this next one. This one is nasty. This one is very nasty, guys. I'm very sorry. Okay, this one is quite nasty, but we're gonna take it on the chin. Let's see what we're gonna do with question 3. All right. I just want to check with everybody. Is everybody okay with what we're doing? Are we all good? Beautiful, excellent stuff. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. All right, let's look at this next one over here. Again, we know we need to find an LCD because we have a plus and a minus in between things, right? But we're going to notice things. Yes, just very like, I see X everywhere. Yeah, sometimes we just have X's everywhere. Okay, so let's have a look at what we can factorize. What can we factorize? Who's got an idea for us? Mandisa, as always, my darling, what do we see that we can factorize?
Ma'am, in the first equation, it would be the difference of 2 squares.
Good, at the bottom over here. Yes, this is dots. Good, what else?
Yes, ma'am. And then at the end, it's a trinomial and
Good.
the dots as well.
The trinomial, and at the bottom?
It's dots as well.
Good, it's dots as well. Excellent. All right, I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to do the factorization, and then we're going to come back to the answers that we need. Oh, guys, no, we can't factorize this one here at the top. We can't. I have a strange feeling that I may have written this question down wrong, because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, Haibo, Teacher Coco. Okay, do you know what? The reason why I'm saying I wrote this question down wrong is because there's an x cubed here for some or other reason. Oh, no, it's actually correct. But that means that this isn't a trinomial because we can't actually factorize if there's an x cubed and only an x. So there's not really a way that we can factorize the top. So the only thing we can do is we can factorize the bottom. But Mandisa, I didn't even catch it, and I wrote the question myself. So yeah, that's saying a lot, guys. That's saying a lot. Okay, guys, please factorize the bottom for me, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation. And also find the LCD. Let's just not factorize. Let's factorize and then also find the LCD. I want you guys to tell me what that is as well. You can pop your answers in the chat to tell me what you think the LCD is as we go.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, would the LCD be x minus 2 and x plus 2?
Correct. That's it. Yes, 100%. You're on brand, on point. Well done. Yes, Palisa, well done. That's it. All right. Okay, so if we factorize, I know that over here I'm going to get x minus 2 over, if I open brackets, x plus 2 and x minus 2, right? Plus x squared over x minus 2 minus x cubed plus x minus 4 over, again, x minus 2, x plus 2. Now, here's what we're going to notice before we continue. In this bracket over here, just this bracket, no other bracket, just this one. Okay, because we factorized everything, do we notice anything on the top and on the bottom that is similar? Do we see anything on the top and the bottom that we can cancel because they are common? That's it, correct. The x minus 2's can cancel. So I can do this. I can go, And then on the top here, I'm going to have 1 left. I'm going to have 1 left over at the top. So that changes my fraction completely. So what I have left over here is I've got 1 over x plus 2 plus x squared over x minus 2 minus x cubed plus x minus 4 over x minus 2 x plus 2. So we're not wrong. Yes, the LCD still looks exactly like what we predicted. X plus 2 and x minus 2. It's the same. It's just that my first fraction doesn't look exactly like the one that we just saw. All right, let's talk about restrictions. What can x not be equal to? X cannot equal what and what? Good, Amanda says -2. Good, Mandisa, and 2 as well.
+2.
So I'm just going to write good, -2. I heard that. Well done. So I'm just going to write x cannot equal plus or minus 2. I can cheat the system like that. I'm a math teacher. I'm very lazy. So I'm just going to write plus minus 2. Both of them cannot go in there. All right. Now we can write everything over one big denominator. And now I'm already showing you guys the next monster that we have to tackle. But we'll get there in just a second. Okay. Now we can write everything over one big denominator equals. Okay, x minus 2, x plus 2. Even if I write x plus 2, x minus 2, it doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. All right, now we're going to go to this first fraction. What's missing from my LCD in this fraction? The x minus 2 part. So I know that I have to multiply the bottom by x minus 2. That means I must multiply the top by x minus 2. So I'm going to get 1 times x minus 2. Are we all okay if ma'am just writes x minus 2? Yes? Can ma'am just write this answer as x minus 2? Does everybody understand why ma'am can just write x minus 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yeah, because 1 times that is just going to give me that. Right, 1 times x will just give me x. 1 times -2 will just give me a -2. So I don't have to actually do anything over there. Right, then I can go to this next one over here. I know that this next fraction is missing the x plus 2 part. So I now know that I have to multiply by x plus 2 here. So over here, I'm going to get plus x squared, open brackets, x plus 2. Right, now again, guys, we have a minus over here, which means everything over here needs to be put in brackets. Yes, I'm hearing a voice. Yes, sir.
If before I put it like that, first when you put it the previous step.
Yes.
I
this one
actually yes, ma'am. I actually calculated it. It was x
cubed.
Oh,
so did you already distribute? So you would have got x squared plus 2x squared. Yeah. Or
yes,
x cubed
x cubed plus 2x squared.
That's perfect. You can absolutely do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's 100% correct. Okay. In fact, it just shows that you're using your mathematical skills a lot faster because you're skipping a step. So it's perfectly fine. Well done. All right. Then the last thing we have to do is we now need to write minus, open this part, x cubed plus x minus 4. Now remember, guys, this minus over here actually represents -1. So we still then need to multiply in that -1. Over here, we need to multiply in the x squared. And Sia, I see you. Absolutely, you're allowed to do that. I'm just going to take it slow so that I don't lose anybody. If you've already gotten to that answer, 100%. Okay, now I'm going to distribute. I'm going to get x minus 2 plus x squared times x will give me x cubed, and x squared times 2 will give me plus 2x squared. And then over here, I'm going to end up with -x cubed minus x plus 4. All of that over x minus 2 and x plus 2. Right, and then we can just clean that up. I know that x cubed minus x cubed will give us 0. X minus x will also give us 0. And then what I've got left here is 2x squared and -2 and 4. So I'm going to write here 2x squared and then -2 plus 4 will give me plus 2 over x minus 2 and x plus 2. There we go. All right. Give me a thumbs up. How are we feeling? We doing okay? I think they must be getting a little bit easier. Yes? I think at this point, we're kind of like, yes, man, we got you. We got you.
Ma'am,
Yeah. Yes.
where's the positive 4 in the final?
No. Don't forget there's a positive. There's a negative 2 here, my darling. So there's negative 2 plus 4. Don't forget. Don't forget. It's also there. All right. So don't leave it behind. All right. Here's our next monster. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Yes,
Ma'am?
yes, ma'am. I'm hearing a ma'am. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but you are allowed to speak. Speak
It's
or
from
forever hold your
me.
peace.
Cat.
Yes, Cat.
I wanted to ask about like the top, because like it's polynomials and they are main. Like, would it be wrong if I rearranged them and like grouped them in like terms, then went to the final answer?
You mean up here
Yes,
in the question we
like
did before?
for me it's yes, like for me, those like I get it, we got the same answer, right? But then for me, like it was kind of like confusing for me to see what it is, x cubed and negative x cubed. So I was asking if I was asking that if I grouped the like terms before I like found the final answer, would it be wrong?
No, absolutely not. Unfortunately, my darling, we won't give you an extra mark for that step. But if it helps you to rearrange your brain in the right way, absolutely do it. Don't leave it behind. Go ahead and do it. Okay, because you still want your marks at the end of the day. And if that's how your brain works, then yes, of course, do it so that you can get the mark. Okay, and nobody will mark you down. They won't mark you down. You'll just get your full marks at the end of the question. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Well done. Well done. Excellent work. All right, peeps. So shall we look at these questions over here? I mean, this question over here. Let's look at some of the factorizing that we need to do over here. Now, I don't know how many of you guys may have noticed, but this thing up top here does not factorize. We can't factorize this. It's unfactorizable. So we're going to leave it exactly the way it is. It's unfactorizable. At the bottom over here, I've got a sum of cubes. I've got the sum of cubes over here. And over here, I've got a trinomial. Okay, so I need to factorize those completely before we continue. All right, so I'm going to get x squared minus 3x plus 9 over... Now, if I factorize the bottom here, I know that it's a cube, so I'm going to open a small bracket and I'm going to open a big bracket. Okay, plus x minus 2 over, now this is a trinomial, so I can open two brackets, minus 1 over x minus 2. All right, good. Now, when we factorize trinomials, guys, don't forget, we're going to take the cube root of the first one and the cube root of the second one. So the cube root of x cubed is just going to give us x, and the cube root of positive 27 is positive 3. Now, when we put them into our bracket, we're going to take x and square it, put it over here, and that's going to give us x squared. And then we're going to take 3 and square it and put it over there. Now, 3 squared would give us positive 9. And now for our middle term, we're going to get x times 3, which will give us 3x. And then instead of putting it in the bracket with the positive sign, we're going to give it a negative sign and put it in the bracket, minus 3x. All right, and that's what we get there. Now, over here, this is a trinomial. So I know that I'm going to get two terms. So I'm going to get x and x over there. Can you guys tell me what factors of 3 do I need to put in to get 4x? What factors of 3 are going to add together to give us 4x?
3 and 1.
3 and 1, beautiful, that's it. So we'll get x plus 3 and x plus 1, beautiful. Okay, before we continue, do we see anything in any fraction that we can cancel? Is there something on the top and the bottom that looks the same that we can cancel? I hope you guys can see it. Anybody? Palisa says yes, ma'am. Palisa, what do we see, my darling? You can unmute if you'd like. Okay, Palisa, I'm not hearing you at all. So maybe you need to check your mic settings for me, please, my dear. But Tseho, we can't. Okay, remember, we can't cross-cancel. Okay, we can't do this. The only time we can cross-cancel is if there's a multiply here. If there was a multiply here, then I could do this. But there's not a multiply there, there's a minus there. So I can't actually do that, right? Ah, that's it. Palisa, well done. Palisa spotted it. The x squared minus 3x plus 9 and the x squared minus 3x plus 9. We can cancel those two. Right, so I can cancel that and I can cancel that. Good catch, Palisa. Beautiful work. 100%. Now, if I cancel this part at the top, I'm going to end up with 1. I'm going to have only 1 left up there. Right, I'm just going to move this down. I'm going to have 1 left. So technically, this first bracket actually has 1 over x plus 3 plus x minus 2 over x plus 3, x plus 1, minus 1 over x minus 2. All right. And now we've got something nice that we can now look at. Okay. Let us find an LCD. Now, remember, guys, everything in my denominator must be accounted for. All right. Must be accounted for. So what is my LCD actually going to be? Who's got an idea? Yes.
Then the LCD would be x plus 3 and x plus 1, as well as x minus 2.
Beautiful. And x minus 2. Do not forget the x minus 2 because everything in my denominator must be there, yes, must be present in the answer. Beautiful work.
And then excellent. The restrictions would be -3, -1, and +2.
Beautiful. Oh, you deserve a medal. You really do. X is equal to -1 or cannot be equal to -1. X cannot be equal to -3 and x cannot be equal to 2. Beautiful. None of those. Otherwise, we're going to get undefined fractions. Excellent. All right. I'm going to carry on over here because I'm going to run out of space in just a second. All right. So I'm going to take everything and put it over one big denominator. And that's going to be x plus 3, x plus 1, and x minus 2. Right. So in this first denominator, what are we missing from my LCD? What are we missing?
We're missing x minus 1 and x plus 1 and x minus 2.
Excellent. So we're going to multiply the top by x plus 1 and by x minus 2. And again, yes, are we all okay with ma'am not using the 1? Are we all cool with that? Yes. I'm not going to include the 1 in this because when I multiply everything by 1, I'm just going to end up with the same answer. Okay. I'm going to end up with the exact same answer. So I'm only going to put the x plus 1 and the x minus 2. X plus 1, x minus 2. Now, let's go to the second denominator. This one over here. This one in the middle here. What is this denominator missing? What is that denominator over there missing?
X minus 2.
Well done, Sia, that's it, x minus 2. So I know that there's already an x minus 2 there. So I still need to multiply this x minus 2 with an x minus 2. So I'm going to then get plus x minus 2, x minus 2, right? I'm going to move over a little bit. And then do we notice that there's a minus? There's a minus here. So what does that tell me about that last bracket? Whatever I do over there, what am I going to have to do to the answer? I'm going to have to put it in brackets. Right, so whatever answer I get at the end, I'm going to have to put that in brackets. Now, let's see what our denominator is missing. I've only got x minus 2. So what is my denominator there missing?
X plus 3 and x plus 1.
Excellent. Are we all okay with the fact that ma'am will not include 1? Yes?
Yes, everything
Good.
will be equal to the same thing.
Good. All right. So I'm just going to say, because it will just be equal to the same thing. So I'm going to go minus, and then I'm going to have x plus 3 and x plus 1. But don't forget, guys, as soon as you find the answer for x plus 3, x plus 1, you still have to multiply that negative in. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Are we okay to do all the FOIL by ourselves? Are we okay with that? Yeah, I think we can do it.
Yes, ma'am, we can do it.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to give you guys the time. Go ahead. Remember, this is FOIL. This one over here, FOIL. That one over there, FOIL. And this one over here, FOIL with a little spice, because after we FOIL, we must then distribute the minus. Once we're done with that, we must then distribute the minus. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Right.
Ma'am,
Yes.
is it okay after I've done the FOIL method? Is it okay if I put them in like terms and then?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what. In fact, if you can get to the end of the question all by yourself, I'm more than happy to have you do that. All right. Excellent. If you guys want to continue and get to the end of the answer, go ahead and do that for me, guys. All right, I'm going to give you guys one more minute and then I'm going to jump in. All right, peeps, let's have a look at this answer. Okay, so in this first bracket over here, I'm just going to rewrite my denominator because I know that my denominator must come with me. I can't leave it behind, right? So x plus 1, x minus 2, right? In the first bracket over here, I'm going to get x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2. In the second bracket, I'm going to get plus x squared minus 2x plus 4. And then I'm going to have minus open bracket and then do that FOIL. X squared plus x plus 3x plus 3. Okay, and then we're going to multiply in. I want to multiply in that negative first before I continue. Okay, x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2 plus x squared minus 2x plus 4. Then I'm going to get minus x squared minus x minus 3x minus 3 all over x plus 3, x plus 1, x minus 2. All right. And then we clean up the top. Let's add like terms. So all of this over x plus 3, x plus 1, x minus 2. All right, let's look for like terms. I've got an x squared plus x squared minus x squared. And then I've got 2x, negative 2x plus x minus 2x minus 2x minus x minus 3x. Yo, whew, that was a lot of minus x. Okay, last one, negative 2 plus 4 minus 3. So those are the ones that we're looking for. All right, let's start with the x squareds. Okay, I've got x squared plus x squared. That's going to give us 2x squared minus x squared. That brings us back to x squared. Okay, and then I've got negative 2x plus x. That will give us negative 1x minus 2x. That's negative 3x minus 2x, negative 5x minus 1x, negative 6x minus 3x. That's negative 9x. So I'll get negative 9x. And then my numbers, negative 2 plus 4, that is 2, minus 3 will give me minus 1. And that's our final answer. Give me a thumbs up. Did we get to the final answer the same way that ma'am did? Yes, well done, Mandisa. Well done, Amanda. Everybody else? Yes, Tejo, well done. Well done, Sia. Excellent work. Nicely done, guys. Awesome. It was exactly Morangi. I know it was one question, but whew. Okay. I personally don't think that the maths is inaccessible. I think it's quite good for us to do it. We can do it, right? I don't think we can't do it. It's quite easy for us to do it. We've done this maths before. I think the problem really is the number of steps and how long it takes. Because we do get that. We do. All right, we do get that it's very, very long. For a question like this, it would probably be about 5 marks, nothing more than that. Okay, and let me explain. I know, I know. I think I did this question with my kids at my school earlier, and they said to me, ma'am, this is worth 12 marks. I'm like, no, we can't give you a 12-mark question. Okay, the reason why this is only a 5-mark question is because everything else that you've had to do throughout this question wasn't actually grade 10 work. The grade 10 work was maybe the factorizing a cube, so you'd get 1 mark for that. I know, Sia, I know. And then finding the LCD, finding the proper LCD would get you 1 mark. The restrictions would also get you 1 mark. So factorizing correctly would get you 1 mark. Restrictions would be 1 mark. Correct LCD would be 1 mark. And then simplifying would be 1 mark, and the final answer would be another mark. So about 5 marks, nothing more than that. In fact, I can see some teachers giving you 4 marks instead of 5 for this. Okay, which is quite common. All right, for any of you who would like a little bit more practice, I do have quite a few questions over here. So you can take a picture. So I just want to, you can take a picture or you can take a screenshot. I forgot. Okay, now I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Cancel that. All right, here, you can take a screenshot of these examples and you can go and test your knowledge or your understanding of how to do the questions. All right, so that's what we're going to get. And today, do not forget, guys, it is Wednesday. So we do have a quiz. It is quiz night. All right, so I'm going to drop the link to the quiz in the chat, and you guys can go ahead and try the chat. For those of you who have not joined our Google Classroom yet, please do. I think we've sent a link for it to your parents, so you can have a look at it. All right, Mandisa, what's up, my darling?
Ma'am, also I was catching up on the other videos, right, ma'am? And
Yes.
and, you know, on the algebraic expressions, ma'am, there's something that I don't understand. So you know
Okay.
when they do an equation, right? And then
Yes.
the second half of the equation, the brackets are the one that are squared, like the whole equation is squared. So example would be 2 open bracket 4x minus 2 close bracket, and then there's a square thing, right?
Like
And
that.
then can I give you also the first part of it?
Yes. Okay, give me the whole thing. Let me see. Cheers,
Okay.
guys. If anybody's leaving, bye-bye. Okay, give me the whole sum.
Open bracket 3x plus 1 squared.
All of this squared.
Yes, ma'am. That I understand. You just have to write them as a double, and then you
Double bracket, yes, correct.
and then you say plus 2 open bracket 4x minus 2, and then you square.
Square that, yeah.
Ma'am, what I don't understand is the second part. How would you do that?
Okay, we would, oh, you mean this part over here?
Yes, ma'am.
We would do it exactly the same way as we would do this one, except do you remember that example that ma'am was doing above where we had a minus here, and then we would have to FOIL first and then multiply the minus in? Yes?
Oh, okay.
In this case, we're just going to do exactly that. We're going to go plus 2, and then we're going to open 2 brackets, and we're going to have 4x minus 2 and 4x minus 2. And then after we do the FOIL, we would then just distribute the 2 in.
Oh, so after thinking the 4x times 2 and all of that, then when you got your answer,
then you multiply every one by 2. Correct.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.